You're staring at a $32 overdraft fee because your coffee shop charge hit before your paycheck landed. And you think, there has to be a better way. That is exactly the problem the Dave app promises to solve, giving you a cash advance of up to $500 with no interest, no credit check, and no late fees. So is Dave actually worth it, or does it just trade one set of fees for another? Here is the honest, no fluff answer. Dave is a personal finance app that offers small cash advances, up to $500, directly to your bank account. It was created by the guy who founded the Skechers fitness brand, and it is designed to help people avoid overdraft fees and cover small emergencies between paychecks. The core idea is simple. You link your bank account, Dave looks at your income and spending, and if you qualify, you can borrow a small amount of money that gets repaid automatically on your next payday. No interest, no credit check, no late fees. That sounds amazing on paper. But the real question is what it actually costs you, and whether the hidden catches make it worse than the problem it solves. Let's start with the standout features, because there are genuine benefits here. The biggest one is the cash advance itself, up to $500 with zero interest. If you have ever paid 400% APR on a payday loan or gotten hit with a $35 overdraft fee for being $2 short, this alone is a huge win. There is also no credit check, so your credit score does not matter. Dave also includes a budgeting tool called Side Hustle that helps you find gig work, and it sends low balance alerts so you know when your account is about to go negative. And if you need the money instantly, instead of waiting 3 business days, you can pay a small express fee to get it within minutes. Now the honest cons, because this is where most people get caught. The first is the subscription fee. Dave charges $1 a month just to have the account. That is not a lot, but it is a recurring cost, whether you use the advance or not. The second is the tipping pressure. When you request an advance, Dave asks if you want to leave a tip. The default is 15% of the advance amount. So if you borrow $100, the default tip is $15. That is not mandatory. You can change it to $0 or any amount, but the app is designed to make you feel guilty for not tipping. And if you need the money instantly, the express fee ranges from about $3 to $25 depending on the amount. So on a $100 advance with the default tip and a $5 express fee, you are paying $21 to borrow $100 for a week or two. That works out to an effective APR of over 500%. That is worse than some payday loans. The third con is the repayment process, which is automatic and can cause problems. Dave takes the money directly from your checking account on your next payday. If you do not have enough money in your account when it tries to pull, you could get hit with an overdraft fee from your bank. Dave itself does not charge late fees or overdraft fees. They charge an overdraft fee equal to the greater of $5 or 5% of the overdrawn amount if your bank returns the payment unpaid. But your bank might charge you $35 for the bounce transaction. So the very thing you were trying to avoid can still happen. There is also the issue of account deactivation. A lot of users report that Dave suddenly closes their account without warning. The company says this happens when they detect unusual activity or a high risk of non-repayment, but the lack of communication is a real frustration. And if your account is deactivated, you still owe any outstanding advances, and Dave will try to collect them. Now let's answer the questions you are actually asking. Can you get a cash advance if your checking account is empty? Dave needs to see regular deposits from a job or other income source. If your account is empty and you have no income history, you will not qualify. The advance is meant to bridge a gap between paychecks, not to replace income. How do you cancel your Dave account or remove your bank info? You can cancel through the app settings, but you need to repay any outstanding advances first. To remove your bank info, you have to contact customer support, which is notoriously slow. Many users report it takes days or weeks to get a response. Will Dave take money from your account even if you do not request an advance? Yes. The $1 monthly subscription fee is automatically deducted from your linked bank account every month. So, if you forget to cancel, you will see a $1 charge each month. How long do you have to repay the advance? The standard repayment is on your next payday, usually within 2 weeks. But you can request an extension if you need more time. Dave allows 1 free extension per advance, which pushes the repayment to your next payday after that. There is no fee for the extension, but interest does not accrue since there is no interest in the first place. Why did Dave deactivate your account without warning? The most common reasons are you requested too many advances in a short period, your bank account had insufficient funds when Dave tried to collect, or Dave detected suspicious activity. There is no clear threshold, and the company does not always explain why. Does Dave work outside the US? Dave is only available to US residents with a US bank account and a US phone number. It does not work in the UAE, Canada, or anywhere else. Is the tip mandatory? No, but the app makes it feel that way. The default is 15% and you have to manually change it to $0. Many users report feeling pressured or guilty, which is by design. What happens if you do not have enough money on payday to repay the advance? Dave will try to pull the money. If it fails, they will try again a few days later. If it fails repeatedly, your account may be deactivated and the debt may be sent to a collection agency. This can hurt your credit score if it goes to collections, even though Dave does not report to credit bureaus for normal activity. So who is Dave actually for? It is best for someone who has a steady job, a bank account with regular deposits, and an occasional small gap between paychecks. If you need $50 to $200 to avoid an overdraft fee or cover a small emergency and you can repay it on your next payday, Dave is a decent option. The $1 monthly fee is cheap and the express fee is optional if you can wait a few days. But Dave is not a solution for ongoing cash flow problems. If you are borrowing every month, the fees and tips add up fast, and the automatic repayment can trap you in a cycle where you are always paying back the last advance while taking a new one. That is how people end up paying $20 or $30 a month in fees and tips for what is essentially a $100 loan. The main alternative people compare Dave to is Earnin. Earnin offers similar advances up to $100 per day and $750 per pay period, but it does not charge a subscription fee. Instead, it asks for a tip, and the default is lower. Earnin also has a feature called Lightning Speed that gets you the money instantly for a small fee. The trade-off is that Earnin requires you to link your timesheet or GPS to verify you are at work, which some people find invasive. Another alternative is MoneyLion, which offers advances up to $250 with no monthly fee, but it also pushes other financial products like credit builder loans and investment accounts. Compared to a credit card cash advance, Dave is cheaper if you need a small amount for a short time. Credit card advances typically have a fee of 3% to 5% and start accruing interest immediately at a high APR, often over 25%. But if you can pay your credit card bill in full by the due date, a credit card purchase is effectively free. Dave is also much cheaper than a payday loan, which can have APRs of 400% or more. Is Dave safe? Yes, it is legitimate. The bank accounts are FDIC insured through a Vault Bank and Trust, and the advances are real. Your data is encrypted, but like any fintech app, you are trusting them with your bank login credentials. There have been complaints about data breaches in the past, so it is worth being cautious. The bottom line on Dave is this. It is a useful tool for avoiding overdraft fees and covering small emergencies, but only if you use it sparingly and pay back the advance on time. The $1 monthly fee is negligible, but the tipping pressure and express fees can make it expensive if you are not careful. If you need $100 for a few days and can wait for the free transfer, Dave is fine. If you need money instantly every week, you are better off fixing your budget or finding a side hustle. I would give Dave a 3 out of 5. It works as advertised, but the hidden costs and account closure issues mean it is not for everyone. Let's dig into something most reviews skip entirely. What actually happens inside the Dave app when you request an advance, step by step? Because the process is not as straightforward as just hitting a button and getting money. First, Dave requires you to open what they call an ExtraCash account. This is a non-interest-bearing demand deposit account, which is just a fancy way of saying a second checking account that sits inside the Dave app. When you request an advance, the money gets deposited into that ExtraCash account first, not directly into your regular bank account. Then you have to manually transfer it from the ExtraCash account to your main checking account. That extra step matters because if you use the express fee to get the money instantly, that instant transfer goes from the ExtraCash account to your bank, not from Dave to your bank. So you are paying an express fee for what is essentially a transfer between two accounts you own. It is a small distinction, but it explains why the express fee exists at all. Dave is not actually moving money faster. They are just letting you skip the waiting period on your own internal transfer. Another detail that rarely gets mentioned is how Dave calculates your advance limit. It is not a fixed $500 for everyone. Dave looks at your bank account history, specifically your average daily balance, your income deposits, and your spending patterns. If you have a steady paycheck of $2,000 every 2 weeks, and you keep a few $100 in your account, you might qualify for the full $500. But if your income is irregular or your account frequently dips to zero, your limit could be as low as $25 or $50. Dave also adjusts your limit over time based on your repayment history. If you always pay back on time, your limit may go up. If you miss repayments or have insufficient funds, your limit can drop or your account can be deactivated entirely. There is also the question of how Dave makes money beyond a subscription fee and tips. The company also earns interchange fees when you use the Dave debit card, which is linked to the ExtraCash account. So if you sign up for the Dave spending account, which is optional, and use that debit card for purchases, Dave gets a small cut of every transaction. That is why they push the spending account so hard in the app. It is not just a feature, it is a revenue stream. And if you use the overdraft protection feature on that spending account, Dave charges a fee equal to the greater of $5 or 5% of the overdrawn amount. So the same problem you were trying to avoid with your regular bank can happen inside Dave's own ecosystem. One more thing that catches people off guard: the repayment timing. Dave says repayment happens on your next payday, but what counts as your payday? Dave estimates it based on your deposit history. If you get paid every other Friday, Dave assumes that pattern continues. But if your payday changes, say you get a bonus early, or your employer deposits a day late, Dave might try to pull the money on the wrong day. If your account does not have the funds on that day, you get hit with a failed payment. And even though Dave does not charge a late fee, your bank might. Plus, Dave will keep trying to pull the money every few days, which means multiple potential overdraft fees from your bank. There is also a lesser known feature called the Dave Credit Builder. This is a separate product that reports your on-time payments to the credit bureaus. It is designed to help you build credit, but it requires a separate monthly fee and a linked savings account. If you are using Dave just for advances, the Credit Builder is an upsell that adds another monthly cost. It is not a scam, but it is another way the app tries to turn a free service into a recurring revenue stream. And finally, a word on customer support. This is the single biggest complaint in user reviews. Dave support is almost entirely automated through chatbots and email. If you have a problem, like a failed transfer, a deactivated account, or a tip you did not authorize, getting a human on the phone is nearly impossible. Many users report waiting weeks for a response. That is fine if everything works perfectly, but if something goes wrong, you are on your own. And given that the app handles your bank login credentials and direct access to your checking account, that lack of support is a real risk. There is one more layer to the Dave app that most reviews miss entirely, and it is the way the app interacts with your bank account behind the scenes. When you link your bank account to Dave, you are not just giving them read-only access. You are giving them what is called a tokenized connection through Plaid, which is a third-party service that acts as a middleman. That token lets Dave see your transaction history, your balance, and your deposit patterns. But it also lets Dave initiate transfers, both pulling money out for repayment and pushing money in for advances. That means Dave has the ability to take money from your account automatically, even if you did not request an advance that month, because the $1 subscription fee is also pulled the same way. You can stop this by cancelling your account, but as long as you are active, Dave has that access. Another practical detail that matters is how the express fee actually scales. The fee is not a flat rate. It depends on the amount you are advancing and the speed you need. For a $25 advance, the express fee might be as low as $3. For a $500 advance, it can go up to $25. But here is the catch. The express fee is calculated as a percentage of the advance amount, and that percentage changes based on risk. If you are a new user with no repayment history, the express fee tends to be higher. If you are a long-term user who always repays on time, it might be lower. But Dave does not publish the exact formula, so you never know the fee until you are in the checkout screen. That unpredictability makes it hard to budget for. There is also the question of how Dave handles weekends and holidays. If your payday falls on a Saturday, Dave might try to pull the repayment on the Friday before, or it might wait until Monday. The app does not give you a clear notification of which day it will attempt to pull. So if you are planning your spending around a Friday paycheck and Dave pulls on Thursday instead, you could end up with insufficient funds. This is one of the most common complaints in user forums. People saying Dave took money a day early and caused an overdraft. So to recap, ExtraCash Account is a middleman, not direct to your bank. Your advance limit depends on your balance and income history. Dave makes money from debit card fees and upsells. Repayment timing can be off and cause overdrafts. Express fee is unpredictable and not flat. Customer support is mostly automated and slow. And Dave has ongoing access to pull money from your account. If this helped, hit subscribe for more app breakdowns.